Doe just stepped out. He's just focused on her.
Life offers no guarantees, but the one thing we've learned for sure is that the time we have is indeed precious. The more time we spend with family, friends, and with nature can make the difference between living a good life and living a great one. Join us on our quest to be participants rather than observers, to learn from our mistakes, to share our successes and our failures as we spend all of the time we have chasing our dreams, fueling our passion, and fueling the fire in the great outdoors. Closed captioning for Fuel the Fire is brought to you by letsrolloutals.ca.
We're back at it again. This time we're muzzle loading. I've never shot an animal with this firearm, but I'm super excited to get on some whitetail action up here in central Ontario. We come back to a spot that we haven't put a whole lot of pressure on, and we pulled the cards, and there's a real good 8-pointer in here. I was saying to Rob, because he was going to sight in his muzzleloader, and I said to him, I'm pretty sure mine will be on. And I thought, you know what, I better check. I know it's been a long season. We've been hunting for a couple months, and I took that first shot, and I was about 16 inches low and about 8 inches to the left. Anyway, it's a learning curve tip for sure. Make sure you give the ultimate amount of respect to the game that you're pursuing by practicing and by making sure your equipment is up to par. Oh, there's a little deer. I can see him moving in there. Yeah. I can't see what it is. Oh, he's a little spiker. He's a healthy looking deer. But if I do see animals in here, it's just really hard to get on them. It's only a one-person stand. So, but good, a real good spot nonetheless. That little spiker's nervous. He keeps looking. He keeps looking to the back. Oh, I see a deer. This guy looks bigger. He looks way bigger. I'm gonna get ready here. Let's see what he says. I can see he's a bigger body.
Well, there you have it. I harvested a young buck there with my muzzleloader. It's my first deer with a muzzleloader. I know Travis is looking for a deer. We want to use it for the Little Brothers group activity that they have planned this week. It's the end of muzzleloader season, and we're just getting it done. A crazy winter storm blew in this week, so we've been going at it pretty hard. Even despite all the weather. So we're gonna go get this buck. Pretty sure I made a good shot on him, and we'll enjoy the harvest. Okay, so there's blood in here. You can see where he's stumbling in here, and he couldn't have gone very far. Yeah, he's a good little buck. This is exactly what those guys are looking for. He's a little 5-pointer. I think I saw him actually earlier in the season, in the bow season. But like I said, doing my first deer with a muzzleloader, and I was anxious to get that done this year. So that's awesome. That's gonna be a real good eating deer. I'm happy with that. What a lucky spot I had this year back here. Seeing lots of deer, but out here in a snowstorm, the end of Muzzleloader on Manitoulin, fueling our passion, fueling the fire, and getting outdoors.
This segment of Fuel the Fire TV was brought to you by JR Wetlands Outfitters. This segment of Fuel the Fire is brought to you by Indigenous Tourism Ontario.
We were lucky enough to harvest this young buck during muzzleloader season. It was actually the last possible second of muzzleloader. The important part of this was actually what we were going to do with the deer afterwards. And we're here, like I said, Chiging First Nation with Travis Corbier, who's a teacher at Lakeview School, but he also heads up a partnership with Nojum Wintec and Chiging Health Center to promote this group called the Young Warriors group. It's a little brothers group, if you will, that does a whole lot of activity in regards to First Nation mentorship for our youngsters and trying to get them outdoors.
I got involved with the program that kind of spun off of a Little Sisters program in our community, which we in the beginning called the Young Boys Group. And after our first meeting, where we allowed the boys to kind of self-direct what they wanted to learn in this program, and they decided they wanted to do a lot of things that were based on their culture and their tradition. The purpose of the program is to teach them some of those things that are historic within the community, but also empower them to have respect and appreciate one another. Now, with the donation of the deer from Neil Dubosky and his crew, we've been able to show the boys how to properly and adequately skin a deer to prepare it for hide curing, which we'll be donating to a local gentleman in town. They've also been able to learn how to take the front shoulders off effectively and many different cuts of the deer, and also learn how to cut it properly for cooking afterwards. The key here is just getting these boys outdoors and fueling their passion and enjoying what the wilderness has to offer them.
I walked all the way to my tree stand. Before I got in there, there's two does, and I go to take my backpack off, see if I get the camera on them. The camera is not on my backpack, on the tripod. I walk all the way back, and I had to go through this. Believe it or not, that didn't fall off in the water. Don't ask me how. I guess it could be worse. The camera could be in water, and it's not. So, I'm just gonna see if I can make double time and get back there. It's just I don't want to fawn. I'm gonna have to bust them in order to get into my stand, but that's okay because it's still early. I'm being attacked by a squirrel, but we managed to get set up. Warren is about a kilometer, maybe 2 kilometers away from me. He came in on his bike. Anything can happen when you have a doe around. Now, she's probably not in heat because there was no buck with her, but at least I can hopefully have some live decoys there. Warren's got a great setup tonight. Wind is in his favor, and all kinds of scrapes all over where he is, so we know there's an active buck in there.
We're starting to kick off the 2018 rifle season. We've been seeing a few decent deer in here. There's a couple young 8-pointers that are decent enough to take. See how it goes. hot spot.
Hot spot. That's 2 years in a row. Look at this guy.
He's not. He's just awesome buck, man.
That's a good, what do you think, 2.5-year-old?
Only 2.5, yep.
For sure. Look at that. That's awesome. And he came running right out to the bait, or was he on the doe?
No, he came running right out to the bait, and then a little bit of snow and just hungry, I guess.
Hungry for some action. And this is a great specimen as well. He's got a nice long G3 there, which is just awesome to see. Fueling the passion, fueling the fire, and getting outdoors. This guy does it again. He is a pro staff of pro staffs. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
This segment was brought to you by Wildlife Artistry Custom Taxidermy.
Listen, folks, we're down here at Wayne Azzopardi's Custom Taxidermy in Orangeville. I'm always so excited to see Wayne's work. He does fantastic taxidermy work, as you can see on these 3 deer, all harvested on Manitoulin Island. We've got a nice big 151 here. This one is a really memorable buck for our last hunt on a piece of property. And then this big monster 9-pointer. In this week's trophy tail tip, I wanted to make sure that we left Wayne enough hide on the animal, because that causes problems for you as a taxidermist.
Yeah, it does, Neil. Like, a lot of people will cut the skin too short.
Too short.
So what you want to do is leave 8 to 10 inches back behind the front legs. More skin is better.
Right. What I really like about Wayne's work is the attention to detail. And you can see when you look closely, there's actually the breath on the whiskers of these whitetails, and it looks fantastic. It's a great job. Now, any other hints there, or helpful hints for our hunters when they're preparing their game for taxidermy?
Yeah, I do get a lot of hunters, they'll actually cut
The throat, right?
to bleed out the deer, but really you don't need to do that. What happens there is we have to stitch up the throat, and it's going to leave a marking in
It's
your
going to be a
mouth.
scar for
Yes.
sure. So if you have, the opportunity that you think you might want to mount your deer, make sure that you don't create more work for your taxidermist by cutting the throat. That's this week's Trophy Tales down here in Orangeville with Wayne Azzopardi and Wildlife Artistry Custom Taxidermy.
Hey folks, on this week's Learning Curve tip, we're back with Manitoulin Island Meats and Darren Smith. Can you walk us through on taking off the front shoulder blades, Darren?
We're gonna go under the armpit of the deer. It's only held on by a membrane, no socket whatsoever. Just follow the seam. And there's one. And there's 2. So next we'll remove the ribs and run your knife down just alongside of the loin, and use the tip of your knife and follow the ribs all the way around.
So all that meat there, Darren, is basically burger meat?
Basically burger.
You're gonna stop right by the neck there, right?
Yeah.
Before the neck?
I cut below the neck, and then there's your rib meat. You don't get much, but some's better than nothing. Like I said, most times this is shot up so bad that it's not worth doing, but next I'll blow the neck out of here. Take it off two sides. The neck is very bony, so there's lots of little ins and outs. Basically an extension of.
So what are we gonna actually do with these pieces?
I'm gonna take these 2 pieces out, which is the cross rib. Take this one out of here and this one out of here. We will tie both together and make a decent sized roast. And once again, your knife follows your bone. You can feel the bone in there, just come right out the bone.
Right.
All the way along. Then this top part is shank meat.
Which is back in the burger?
Which will be ground. Now you have your blade bone. There's muscles on there that can be tied to a roast on a larger animal. We can tie them on right here now. So you follow the blade bone. And this bone has a high bone that runs through the center. So you go on each side of that. Just follow the bone out. You end up with a piece of meat like that on that side.
So that could either go to make a roast out of one
Roast.
or just make it into burger again.
Or stew. And that when you run out like that, that can also be tied on. So we'll tie these muscles onto this, under the cross rib, like that.
I don't know if we can slow the camera down enough to see how that knot goes, but it's pretty amazing knot.
Put the cut end away from you, lay this loose in your hand, make like a gun out of your fingers,
Yeah.
lay it on there, twist it around that one, pull it through.
And then it just slips and
As soon as
tightens.
you pull it down, it'll lock and won't go anywhere.
I'm gonna have to leave that one to you, Darren.
Now we'll do the neck. Take this back strap thing out a bit. You don't want to chew on that. That's what holds the animal's head up. Nip a little bit off the end. Then on these, because you got two larger ends and one small end, vice versa. Put one big end at one end and one big end at the other,
Right?
so you don't have a fat end and a skinny end.
It'd look like us.
Yeah, exactly like this.
And that's this week's learning curve tip. We got 3 nice roasts out of that shoulders and neck, and a bunch of burger here.
This segment of Fuel the Fire is brought to you by Buck Down Archery.
Warren's telling me that he's got a little 4-pointer out in front of him at his stand. And that he looks like he's all rutted up. But he's back at it tonight. Hopefully he'll be able to get it done.
This is day 3 of rifle season. Out here in the same spot that I was 3 weeks ago. Seen a decent 10 that came out, and I'm hoping that he'll be trailing a doe this time and give me the opportunity with my dad's rifle. I'm hunting with my dad's rifle, 303 British, so I'm hoping we can get her done tonight. I can hear a deer running through the swamp. I'm gonna get ready, just in case. Doe just stepped out. He's right behind her. It's the 10. He's just focused on her. She won't stop looking at me. Oh, there she goes. Okay, I gotta take him. That's a huge 10. We haven't seen that deer back here. That could be, or I think that is my best buck ever. I'm gonna text Neil.
I heard a shot and it's gotta be Warren. I'm gonna wait for a text here any second. Because I'm sure that's him. You never know, maybe that's him. Oh, there's his text here. He's down, he said. That's all he says is he's down. I don't know what that means, but you know what? I'm gonna back up here.
I'm super excited to go see this buck. And you heard him crash. So let's get going. I want to see this. We'll get camera on him and see what he is. Oh, you can see where he crashed right into that tree there. There he is. Oh man.
Look at that.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Look at this buck. Oh. He's got 9-inch G3s. That thing is huge. He's bladed all the way around here. Oh, let's pull him around so we can see a little bit better. This is a great deer for Manitoulin Island. I am beside myself at how awesome was. I heard the shot. I heard the classic Pacow shot. He almost touches. He's only about 4 or 5 inches from touching that. What a fantastic 10-pointer. Good for you.
Right on, buddy.
Oh, that's awesome. Dog and a doe, eh?
Yeah, right behind the door.
Just a great Manitoulin whitetail.
He was right behind her. She walked out and she took off, and then I thought, oh, I'm done. And then he just gave me a perfect shot.
Self-videoing is hard because you're trying to get it in frame. You're concentrating on the deer. You're trying not to look at his rack. And this is a hard rack not to look at. But you know what? You're going to get to look at this until you're an old man.
Oh, forever.
That's awesome. Fueling the passion, fueling the fire, and getting outdoors. Prostaff Warren Corbier with his best buck to date, eh?
It is, yes.
Awesome, man. Good job.
Perfect.